Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Relationship Stories, and in today's video we are going to explore the real story of a woman who faced a strange problem in her relationship with her boyfriend after accidentally running into her ex-boyfriend. We will uncover the reasons behind what happened and what occurred afterwards and why her boyfriend acted that way he did. Let us discover all the details in this story. So now let's hear the story from a girlfriend point of view. We have been together for 2 years, and before this, I would say our relationship was very close to perfect. At the beginning of the year, though, my boyfriend and I were at the grocery store and we bumped into my ex and another friend. This was the first time they had ever met each other. We made a polite conversation before going our separate ways. My boyfriend made a sarcastic comment and how nice my ex was and when he was out of earshot. I didn't think much of it at that time. A few weeks after this, I noticed he was on my ex's Facebook page. When I asked him what he was doing, he shrugged it off and said he was curious because he saw my ex had commented on Luke's, a mutual friend of ours, and my ex's post. He's since friended him on there and claimed my ex was one to initiate it. He's followed him on Instagram and Twitter too. He comments on a lot of his posts too, but my ex rarely comments back. He also somehow got Luke to invite him to my ex and his friends' weekly hangouts. I mentioned I found it weird that they were hanging out, but he dismissed it and said it was not a big deal. He's also started talking about changing his career path to what my ex is doing and makes snide comments about if his dad paid his way for him. He could take me on fancy trips too. He's also become incredibly passive aggressive towards me and makes comments about how if my ex didn't move abroad for a few years, we probably would never have dated. If I say no to anything, including the S thing, he comments about how he bets I would not say no if my ex was the one asking. He also got really sulky when he realized I still had a gift my ex gave me. Yesterday we had a massive fight over it because I wanted to spend time together, but he ditched me to hang out with my ex. So I got so upset, I told him he might as well date my ex instead. I don't really know what to do now. He is giving me the silent treatment, and I heard him tell my ex what I said is really humiliating. What can I do to make him stop hanging out with my ex? This was the question asked by OP in the community. Before seeing the update to the story, let me tell you what I think. OP, it sounds like your boyfriend's behavior towards your ex is inappropriate and disrespectful to your relationship. It's important to communicate clearly with him about how his actions are affecting you and relationship. Let him know what you feel uncomfortable with his obsession and that is hurting your trust in him. You may also want to suggest that he seek professional help to understand and address his behavior. Additionally, it may be necessary to set boundaries and take some time apart to figure out what you both want in the relationship. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide you are willing to tolerate and what actions you need to take to protect your emotional well-being. And now we will see some of the most helpful advices told to OP by the community members. Person 1 said, so you mentioned that your relationship was close to perfect before this, but considering this started nearly a year ago, this new dynamic characterizes almost half of your 2 years together. Sounds a lot like he had an honeymoon period mask and he has now revealed his true colors. Sorry, but I don't think getting your boyfriend to stop hanging out with your ex solves your problem. Your current boyfriend has his serious issues and is demonstrating a willingness to try to build himself up by tearing you down. He is apparently pretty manipulative and controlling. So many red flags. He's managed to make you rethink ever saying no to him because you are trying to avoid a manufactured fight in which he compares himself to your ex. He sulks to get his way. 3. He guilts you to get his way by saying you probably would not say no to your ex. 4th red flag is passive aggressive, etc. It appears he is testing your boundaries to figure out what emotional manipulation he can apply to get his way. Number 5 is he is punishing you by weaponizing things you say while discussing your relationship with him and telling them to others to shame you and make you less likely to advocate yourself later. The 5th red flag is kind of sounds like he is trying to make you jealous to prove you love him more, possibly stemming from insecurity but could be more malintentioned than that. Constant testing of affection is not a great strategy for longevity. He is sincere, the two-faced thing he is going on with the snide comments about how nice your ex was and making fun of the opportunities or connections your ex had in his career. At the same time, he is trying to build a relationship with him. To leverage his career connections is definitely going to catch up with him. The way you describe it, it's deeply creepy how he manipulated his way into your ex's friend circle. I'm sure you want back the boyfriend you thought you had prior to this revelation, but he probably does not exist. This is who you are dating. Even if you get him to stop hanging out with your ex, he's demonstrated how he interacts in relationships once he's made into the comfort level. He will use what he learned through his period to get you think it's too much of an inconvenience to stick up for yourself in other ways. Please don't buy into the sunk cost fallacy. You have got too much of your life still ahead of you for that. Don't take my word for it though, I highly recommend you read Lundy Bancroft's Why Does He Do That? I think you will recognize your boyfriend. The second opinion from the community members is red flags all around. It sounds like your guy is deeply insecure and channeling that insecurity into loathing. He is already taking it out on you, manipulating you, pressuring you in the bedroom, even attempting to turn your seemingly amicable ex on you. He is pushing your boundaries and his demands are impossible. Nothing you do will fix his insecurity, and so he will continue to lash out and demean you. I know because I have been there. This relationship sounds nothing close to perfect. I sincerely hope you distance yourself from him and get some perspective. Best of luck. The third opinion from the community member is your boyfriend is deeply insecure to the point of mental illness. I have been the boyfriend in this situation. I would suggest you to sit him down and suggest he go to therapy because the issue is with him and his insecurities, not you. Breaking up could also be an option to consider as it is not your job to help him deal with his insecurities. Now let's see the update from OP. After my last post, I tried to take the advice in the comments and suggested couples counseling, and I asked my boyfriend to cut off my ex. But he got angry at me again. He claimed I was the one who needed therapy because I had jealousy issues and that my ex was one of his good buddies and I could not dictate who he has friends with. Then a week later, he had another hangout with my ex and his friends where he proceeded to very loudly tell them how I was so insecure and I was trying to tell him who he could speak to. My ex and Luke had to tell him to stop, which he didn't like at all. I should have just broken up with him at this point, but I was so stupid and still clinging to the hope of my boyfriend going back to how he was. After this happened, my boyfriend was constantly making jabs at my ex and Luke, but then he would still contact them and pretend to be friends with them. Then he became super interested in what my ex life was like with my ex. He was constantly asking me who was better between the two of them, and he would ask me if I had done that with my ex. I kept telling him I didn't want to talk about it and to stop asking me. I then found out from my ex and Luke that he had been asking my ex directly the same questions and that he had been bragging about our ex life to his friends. My ex said he was telling me because my boyfriend made a comment about loaning me to my ex if we ever felt like recreating old times. That was the final straw for me and I broke up with him and moved out. My now ex-boyfriend didn't take the breakup well and he went on smear campaign. He even contacted my family and my ex's family to tell them we were apparently having an affair and that he had no choice but to break up with me. It's been almost a month since we broke up and he keeps getting new numbers to text and call me. Deep down, I think I knew this would be how things ended. I'm sad about the relationship I thought we had ending. But now I have had space away from my ex-boyfriend. I feel much better and it's like a huge weight has been lifted from my shoulders.